WLTF. All the right stuff is right here. That's Penske Auto Center. It's the quality car care system.
Penske's Transmatic ATF Fluid Exchange Service, $69.99 every day.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Going has been tough in New York City this morning. Heavy rain atop ice from last night is making it difficult to get around, and things in other locations in the Northeast are even worse, with heavy snow, sleet, and ice causing a lot of havoc. From collapsed roofs from heavy snow to ice on trees, falling on power lines, power outages, schools closed. It's been a mess. We've been tracking the storm for 3 days now. Thanks for joining us here at Weather Center. A special edition for you as we track this storm. Lots of snow fell out in western Pennsylvania yesterday, over a foot of snow, but also in South Weymouth, Massachusetts, we had 17 inches of snow that was recorded, upon also much of that due to ocean effect snow. We also had sleet and ice overnight and freezing rain, and right now it looks as though the best chance for freezing rain is a little further to the west, more of the interior sections, but we are seeing some significant curtailing of the precipitation to the south and west of that area, and we'll have details for you coming up in just a minute. Meanwhile, we have Weather Channel crew stationed out there for you. Jeff Morrow is at King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and Mike Seidel is in Westchester County, New York. We're going to go to Mike Seidel first for a report at this hour. Good morning, Mike. Have conditions improved?
They have, Marshall, good morning to you too. It is a wet morning here in New York City, but at least the temperatures have climbed above freezing, not only in the city, but out here in the suburbs in Westchester County. We're about 45 minutes from New York City on a good day. Today is not a good day. We've had traffic restrictions here on the Tappan Zee Bridge as far as speed goes. It was 35, it went up to 45, and now looking at the sign, it's now down to 35 miles an hour. A lot of standing water, a lot of ponding. The melting continues. The temperature here now up to 34 degrees. So we paid the price. The snow and sleet and ice is now melting, combined with our last batch of heavier rain moving in to the lower Hudson Valley, creates quite a bit of runoff and standing water, not only here, but across the tri-state area, because a lot of the storm drains and sewers are blocked by the snow and ice, and the water has nowhere to go. And so it just kind of sits there and forms little ponds and little lakes. That's what we call ponding. So the best bet is still to take it easy this afternoon, especially on the secondary roads, which still have ice and slush on them. And if you're traveling north, up towards Albany, up through north of Kingston, and up towards New Paltz, those areas, they're still getting freezing rain, and they will until it changes back to snow. So those areas are still below freezing, and there's still a lot of problems up there with ice and also the risk of power outages. But here in the city and out here in the suburbs, it's all over as far as frozen precipitation right now. There could be a few stray snowflakes late today, but tonight as skies become partly cloudy, temperatures will fall down into the 20s, so everything out here will refreeze. So watch that Saturday morning. Watch the sidewalks. Watch where you're driving. There'll be black ice out there, and we want you to get to your location tomorrow, certainly safely. But tomorrow afternoon, it warms up to above freezing. Sunday, 50, and sunshine in the park. Not a bad weekend after all this we've dealt with past couple of days. Now let's check in with the latest in Philadelphia. Let's check in with Jeff Morrow now in King of Prussia. Jeff?
Have any audio?
That was Jeff Morrow in King of Prussia. Obviously, there's some audio problems there, but Jeff indicating now that there's still some light rain in the area of Philadelphia. To the south of Philadelphia, west of Philadelphia, and northwest of Philadelphia, ice has been a major problem. Very difficult to get to the Philadelphia area early this morning. Now we're ready to go back to Jeff Morrow for a report from the area. Good morning, Jeff. What's the change in the situation there?
Must have got a little ice there in the microphone line there, Marshall, but things have improved here greatly. We are starting to get some breaks in the clouds off on the western and southwestern horizon. I hesitate to say it's completely done raining, but it looks like we've probably seen pretty much the last of it, and that's what we have had most of the morning, is just a plain rain. Although late last night it was freezing rain, but eventually those temperatures did get above freezing. But that brought a whole set of problems around the Philadelphia area, including up here around King of Prussia. And of course, ice on the trees. You had to plow it off the roadways, or you had to go out there and actually shovel it off the sidewalks. Again, just a combination of sleet last night and then all the ice on top of that. It was just a mess traveling around Philadelphia earlier this morning. Now a lot of that ice and sleet is starting to melt a little bit. And again, there is still a lot of ice on the sidewalks, as well as on some of the driveways and on the parking lots. You have to be very, very careful still out there. Even though the temperatures are above freezing and the rain is pretty much over with, we have a lot of residual ice. And where there isn't ice, there's a lot of water ponding, just like Mike said, and that can slow you down on the highways as well. Traffic trying to move along here on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, but still a bit of a backup at the toll booth. But I think, as Mike was mentioning, as we head into the weekend, much better days are ahead weather-wise, at least for Saturday. So we'll look ahead to that, definitely. Marshall, let's get back to you.
Jeff, thanks a lot. It does certainly look good for this weekend. But right now, as you said, too, residual effects from this storm are going to be felt well into the weekend until it's all over with. For example, Interstate 84 eastbound near the Pennsylvania-New York border is closed to traffic because there's a 50 to 60 vehicle not pile up, but 50 to 60 vehicles stuck on the mountain. And the Northway, north of Albany, Interstate 87 this morning, highways glazed over with ice, and the road has been closed. And there's also other problems in the interior sections of the Northeast. I'm joined here with Paul Kosin, the Weather Channel's winter weather expert. We've been watching the storm now for 3 days. Paul, looks like it's moving out a little more quickly than we anticipated, which is good news for the Northeast. And even though the ramifications are going to be felt for the next 24 hours, it is moving out. Can you give us the particulars on why it's headed out more quickly, or who's, let's say, not in the path of the worst? Like the coast is looking good now, but in the interior sections, it still looks pretty bad.
Right. Well, the first question I can answer in that it's moving out more quickly as this upper level trough that we've been advertising affecting the whole situation is taking over and amplifying the surface low pressure center to move right now directly over New York City, and it will accelerate fairly rapidly up towards the Massachusetts coastline within the next 3 or 4 hours, and then off the Maine coast by early this evening.
So people will see their temperatures this morning going up, and then they'll be going down a little bit, but we'll also see an end to the precipitation.
Right, especially in New York, now that the low's over them, the precipitation should be ending probably within the next hour or so, and we're still expecting continued heavy icing across the interior of New England, but even that should start tapering off within the next 2 to 3 hours.
All right, well, that's good news. Thank you very much. And I want to let you know, too, there are still problems and will be problems this afternoon due to flooding. Not flash flood, but flood warnings have been issued for southeast New York State, northeast New Jersey, and for southwest Connecticut. For low-lying areas and urban and small stream advisory. Could be ponding of water a problem even outside of those areas. Need to be very, very careful out there. Check for